You thereby consent to the city recording and live streaming your image and or voice. Thank you. I would like to call upon Councillor Barry Winmar to present the Welcome to Country.
Thank you, Worship. I begin by acknowledging my elders past and present and emerging leaders in our community. And I say, Ngalak nyening kurlong, kurang ngalak noich neja nonga boja. Nonga mort jerpen nyening neja kwabalak, nonga boja kurlong. From the beginning of time to the end, this is Noongar country. Noongar people have been graceful keepers of our nation for many, many years. Ngala jerpen mama boja ngalak bala kwap, ngala court jerpen. Nija ngala maya nyening nonga boja. We respect the earth, our mother, and understand we belong to her. She does not belong to us. In all her beauty, we find comfort, well-being, and life that creates a home for everyone that has become a keeper of Noongar country. Look, listen, understand, and embrace all the elements of Noongar country is forever our home. Kai Wanju, Ngan Barry Winmar, Wajak Baladong Marman, Ngan Court Jerpen, Nunuk Nija Noongar Buja, Darjeeling Wangani Noich Noongar Buja. Hello and welcome. My name is Barry Winmar. I'm a Wajak Baladong man. My heart is happy as we're meeting on Noongar country and speaking here on Noongar country tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Winmar, and I would like to acknowledge that we meet here on the land of the Noongar people and pay our respects to their elders past, present and those future emerging leaders. I'll call upon Councillor Sue Kearney to read the dedication.
May we, the elected members of the City of Kwinana, have the wisdom to consider all matters before us with due consideration, integrity and respect for the Council Chamber. May the decisions made be in good faith and always in the best interest of the greater Kwinana community that we serve.
Thank you. Item 4, we have one apology tonight, and that is from Councillor Matthew Rouse. Public question time. Have we been provided with any questions on notice? No, thank you. Item 6, receiving of a petition. I understand that there is a petition to be presented. Would you like to come forward and state your name, address, and just detail your petition, and then I'll receive it from you. Thank you.
Hey, I am Natasha Sicuso, 56 Sanctuary Drive in Bertram. I forgot the other one already. I'm a local dog groomer at Bertram, have been here about 8 years. 2 sons in the area that go to the local school help out there. So I just, to mind, I've been meaning to do it for about 4 years. On and off, I've got to the entry level and bouncing back and forth. So basically what I'm asking for is in our local community in Bertram to fence off a park that we have that is already a off-leash dog park. Just there's been a few incidents there in the past, safety things that have come up. There's actually a section between the freeway to the park where humans, animals, all sorts can get in and out of our little area. So even if we don't get fencing, a partial fencing, just to block off that area. But pretty much what I did was put a petition online on Change.org, which I couldn't really necessarily lodge here, but it did have 189 followers. I've still printed and brought forward the information for Carol to have a look through. She'll know some names, I'm sure, that are regulars, but I have also brought an official petition as well with a few. Went door knocking around the local area, and a lot of people were really happy for this idea, mainly because the people that live directly across from the park are sick of seeing dogs not being under control, which is one of the rules you're meant to abide by, but they happen, they're animals, and the safety issue between the main roads that are a bit busy in certain times of the day.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to come up here, for the work to put in the petition. I'm happy to receive it, and we'll prepare an officer's report and we'll advise you, and that will be coming back to council. So I might just ask you to pass the petition to Councillor Brown. And thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Sorry? Oh, thank you. Would somebody like to move, Deputy Mayor, would you like to move that we receive the petition? And we have a report. Thank you. And second to Councillor Winmar. Do you wish to speak? No. Councillor Winmar? Anybody wish to speak against receiving? Thank you. Put it to the vote. All in favour? Against? So carried. There are no presentations. We do have one deputation from a Mr. Justin Page from Element, and it's in relation to item 17.1. Thank you. Mr. Page, would you like to come forward? Thank you. And your submission has been circulated. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Madam Mayor and elected members. Thank you for the opportunity to make this deputation. I can see that it's been circulated, but I feel on behalf of the landowners I'll still make the presentation, and if you like you can read along with me. So my name is Justin Page from Element of 191 St George's Terrace in Perth, representing the landowners of lots 7, 10, 11 and 88 Lion Road and their agent Terra Novus. Since the Council's initiation of the amendment for advertising last year in April, the proposed amendment has been modified to provide for a better planning outcome. Prior to advertising, consultations with the City and DPLH officers and the EPA led to a series of modifications, including, number one, the strengthening of the tree retention subdivision controls to cover not just the R5 lots, but also the R10 and R12.5 lots, including all lots in the subject land into the City's development contribution area number 5, so that appropriate developer contributions are levied from the landowners towards shared community infrastructure in Wandie. The amendment proposal now comprehensively deals with matters of tree retention and developer contributions, which would be further explored at the next planning stage, which is the subdivision approval stage, assuming that the amendment is passed. The main purpose of this presentation is to address the advertising submissions and comment on the proposed officer modifications to the amendment. Turning to the concerns raised in submissions, specifically the main issues for objection that were raised by nearby residents were overcrowding and increased traffic. These were adequately addressed in the officer's report. However, the response from the applicant is that the subject site is zoned for urban development to accommodate population growth. As the land is a transitional use between the Wandie urban area and the special rural land to the east, a low density of R5 to R12.5 is provided. This will result in a nominal increase to the population in Wandie and also a nominal increase in traffic, to which the planned road network in Wandie has been designed to accommodate this. Most of the local traffic using Lion Road is generated by Wandie urban residents in Honeywood Estate. So it's worth noting that Lion Road will also be upgraded using developer contributions. In parts, it has already been upgraded to an urban standard, which is being used by Wandie residents. The proposed amendment, therefore, will not significantly increase the volume of local traffic, nor will it lead to the creation of any significant traffic safety issues. With regard to another key issue of objection, which is the removal of existing bushland over the site. The subject site again is zoned urban development under the planning framework. Clearing of existing vegetation is therefore necessary, but in a controlled manner, so as to consider at the subdivision stage retention of any vegetation, including trees, worthy of retention and where practical. Further, the amendment contains development controls prohibiting the clearing of existing bushland within the groundwater protection area, which offers protection for existing Banksia woodland. In addition, for the R10 and R12.5 coded lots, there will be a generous 10-metre setback to Lion Road, which is above the normal 7.5-metre setback under the R codes for the planting of landscaping. And these large, low-density lots with their wide 20-metre frontages will create extra landscaping opportunities and greenery, which will assist in the transition between the Wandie urban areas and the special rural areas to the east. Just in closing, we support the officer recommendation and the proposed modifications put forward. So with regards to modification number 1, to include DCA 9 contributions on the scheme out, we have no objection to this. With regards to modification number 2, which is to include a new condition number 6 in the development standards, which refers to developer contributions, the proponent has no objections to this modification as it aligns with the intent of a future developer agreement for contributions which will be made on a pro rata basis. We also agree with the city officers that the removal of Honeywood Avenue, being the internal collector road, is acceptable, as Lion Road will be the key road servicing this development. The upgrading of Lion Road is a DCA item, which future pro rata contributions will be payable by the Lion Road landowners. And lastly, with regards to modifications 3 and 4, these are just formatting modifications, so there's no objection to those. So that concludes my deputation. I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Page. Thank you. Item 7.1 are the minutes to be confirmed from our ordinary meeting of council held on the 28th of September. Would somebody like to move those minutes? Moved Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Winmar. Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak on those minutes? Councillor Winmar? Anyone wish to speak against? Put it to the vote. All in favour? Carried. Item 8, declaration of interest. Does anybody have a declaration of interest?
Yes, Your Worship. I actually will declare an interest in item 17.1, an interest of impartiality as a very close family friend's parents own one of the subject lots on Lion Road.
Thank you. I'd like to declare an interest, an impartiality interest in 16.1, which is to do with the Public Art Master Plan revised policy and associated art guidelines. One of the two respondents in the submissions from the Community Kwinana Industries Council. My husband is an employee of Kwinana Industries Council. I am, however, on the Public Art Review Panel, so I therefore declare an impartiality interest. Thank you. Any other interest to declare? Thank you. Requests for leave of absence. I actually do have a request. I'll just get to it. I request a leave of absence from the 14th of February to the 19th of February 2023. Any other requests for leave of absence? If not, would somebody like to move that way? Moved Councillor Dennis Wood, seconded Councillor S. Wood. All in favour? Against? Carried. I thank you for that. There is nothing on item 11. Item 12, 12.1. We have several items from the Audit and Risk Committee. I propose, unless somebody would like to ask a specific question, I'm happy to move those en bloc.
I've got a question, Your Worship, for item 12.1.
Thank you.
So in relation to item 12.1 and the amendments outlined in the report, I just have one question. When it comes to the original arrangement of restricting councillors other than the mayor from being able to serve more than 2 terms on the committee, I would just like to ask what the original reasoning behind the term limit or rotations for councillors on the committee was. And from an oversight, governance, accountability perspective, what's the benefit in changing that particular arrangement? So there is no limit?
Thank you. I'll ask the CEO to respond.
Through Madam Chair, so the original intent was to turn your board members over on the committee so that you have new ideas coming in. But now with the change under the local government reforms, it's now sort of trying to standardise on that in terms of just aligning to the reforms.
Thank you. Are there any other questions on any of the Audit and Risk Committee recommendations to Council? Would somebody happy to move those in blocks? So that would be item 12.1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And, well, actually, we're dealing with it under item 13, so it's 12.1 through to 12.6. Thank you. Moved Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Winmar. Deputy Mayor? Councillor Winmar? Anybody wish to speak against? Thank you. I shall put it to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Very big exciting item. 14.1, our Kwinana Loop Trail Master Plan. Are there any questions of the officers on this report? If not, we have a recommendation. Would somebody like to move that way? Deputy Mayor? I want someone to speak on it. Seconded Councillor Kearney. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on the item?
Worship. This is a very significant project within the city. It certainly will provide some awesome recreation facilities for residents of not only Kwinana but I guess the cycling community into the future. I do note that this was one of the things that the community was asked to vote on, and this was the one that they did vote on. So I congratulate the officers for the amount of work that has been put in, and I look forward to riding the trail with you, Your Worship, maybe in the future on our mountain bikes.
In your lycra, well done. Councillor Kearney.
Nothing more different than what Councillor Beasley has just spoken. I think it's quite exciting and it's going to be great when it's finished.
Anybody wish to speak against? Before I take the vote on this, I really do want to say that this is an amazing project, and yes, it is expensive, but we went to the community with consultation. We've had an amazing array of people have come forward and really got behind this project. You know, when you think 21 kilometres of mountain bike loop trail, all accessible, and I'll just defer to the CEO just to give a bit of an update, because one of the issues that we hope that will really be an advantage is to actually incorporate, which is now the off-road vehicle area, which we know in Medina has been an eyesore and a problem for the community for that long, because of the amount of rubbish that's being dumped and the state of it, and the city not wanting to take it over from the government's control. But what it has done, we hope, will provide a really great area for adrenaline mountain bike riding. CEO, could you provide an update?
Through you, Madam Chair. So, councillors, we have been having numerous discussions with ministers and DLGSC regarding the off-road vehicle area. As you're all aware, the off-road vehicle area, when it was originally set up, was only ever intended to be a learn-to-ride area limited to 125 cc's. So the area is quite contained, but unfortunately, over time, people haven't been sticking to that, going outside the area and creating other issues. So the location is now wrong in terms of where it is. So we have been looking at other options in terms of moving it to the Motorplex. DLGSC have now advised us this week that they're very supportive to close the off-road vehicle area and relocate it to the Motorplex and actually have a purpose-built off-road vehicle area that will become a bit more enjoyable for people to ride, provide opportunities for people to learn to ride, as well as creating a bit of adrenaline for them in a controlled environment. Because part of the issue is that with the off-road vehicle area, it's not controlled. There's no management over it, and as you can see, it has a lot of illegal dumping taking place. So there'll be a paper coming to council on that later.
Thank you, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the officers who have been involved in this journey, in also preparing the report, and also yourself and our Manager of Business Development and Advocacy and in fact all the officers that have been involved in advocating with the relevant government departments to really try and get something happening with that off-road vehicle area, which has just been a thorn in the City of Kwinana's side and the Medina residents' side for so long now. So this is such a, it's a win-win having the Kwinana Loop Trail master plan before us, and hopefully we just have to get the funding, but we always have a plan. So we'll move on with that. So with that, all in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 14.2 is the approach to homelessness and assertive outreach. CEO, is there any additional information, or councillors any questions of the officers on this item? I have a question. It's just in relation to the current arrangements we have. I understand that contracts will come to an end, and so therefore the auspicing, I suppose, the care and control of homeless persons will then be taken over to an appropriately resourced not-for-profit. That's essentially what this item is about.
Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, that's fundamentally what it is, and the the staff that we currently have, we would look at pursuing opportunities for employment for them in the future with the service providers. The service providers we've spoken to have said that they are constantly looking for employees in this area in Mandurah and Rockingham anyway, so there'd definitely be opportunities for them to stay within the Kwinana area.
Great, thank you very much. And those statistics which were part of attachment are quite eye-opening as well. Thank you. So do we have a mover, please? Moved Councillor Winmar, seconded Councillor D. Wood. Councillor Winmar, do you wish to speak on the item?
Yes, Your Worship. I'd like to acknowledge the work of the officers in this project. It's a significant project for the area. It comes at a time when there's uncertainty in the community with economic times and stresses on families and pressures in the community, and I think we put our best foot forward in this approach, and I'd like to thank my fellow councillors who have also supported this motion to ensure that families that are dislocated or homeless or couch surfing or don't have that transition accommodation, they've got trust and faith in their council that we're looking at ensuring that all residents within Kwinana have a plan moving forward, and it's definitely gives us the first step towards what that transition plan looks like, so I commend them on the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wood? Thank you very much. Anybody wish to speak against? Shall put it to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Item 14.3 is an elected member nomination of the Clini Arts Centre Board of Management. Are there any questions about this item?
Yes, Your Worship. Did we ascertain what day and time the committee meets?
Can we take that on notice?
It's a very good question.
I thought they used to on a Thursday night, but I can phone a friend, find out. Can we find out and let you know? Yeah. Thank you. Now, we needed one council to nominate. Would one councillor, who would like to nominate? Deputy Mayor? Okay, no other nominations? Thank you. Would somebody like to move that Deputy Mayor be appointed to the Clini Arts Centre Board? Moved Councillor Winmar, seconded Councillor S. Wood. Councillor Winmar, do you wish to speak on the item? Councillor Wood? No, thank you. Anybody wish to speak against? All in favour? All in favour? Against? So moved. I think it's sorry? Voting against, no. No, congratulations, Deputy Mayor. I think it's an important thing. We haven't had a elected member council representative on the Cluny Arts Centre for quite some time, and given the amount of funds and the service level agreement, etc., that are required from the Arts Centre, it's great to have a council lens over it. It's a fantastic facility under good management, and we produce some amazing shows and provide a really much needed service to the community, so it's great that you have considered joining the board. In fact, you're not only considered, you're on it now. Where are we? Board. Item 15.1 is a charitable rate exemption for the Housing Choices Western Australia. Are there any questions of the officers? If not, there's a recommendation. Moved Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor S. Wood. Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak on the item? Councillor Wood? No, thank you. Anybody wish to speak against? Shall put it to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Item 16.1 is the final adoption of the draft City of Kwinana Public Art Master Plan. I have declared an impartiality interest, but that I can still participate in the meeting. Are there any questions of the officers on this? If not, we have a recommendation. Moved Councillor D. Wood, seconded Councillor S. Wood. Councillor D. Wood, do you wish to speak on the item?
A lot of work has been put into this, and it's quite expensive if you look at all the contributions that have come toward it, for it. But it is it's necessary to have an arts recommendation for the arts that the place does look a little bit better, especially in the industrial area. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor S. Wood? Thank you. Anybody wish to speak against? Put it to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. I would just like to say, as a member of the Public Art Review panel, it has been an inordinate amount of work, time and effort from all those members on the panel to get us to this place. It's been, I'm not sure how many meetings we've had, Mrs. Cook, and we've had a lot of some pushback along the way, but we've slowly worked through, because at the end of the day it is about having a public art master plan, and therefore when there are developer contributions as through the public art process, then at least we do have something that the developers can actually see. We've got an opportunity to put funding towards, and the fact that we do have a robust master plan, which has been agreed to as well with the industry. That is a real tick in the box for us. So thanks everybody for their contribution. Item 17.1 is the amendment to number 162 Local Planning Scheme number 2 for the adoption of lots 1, 7 to 11 and 88 Lion Road, Wandie. Deputy Mayor has indicated an impartiality interest, but will participate in the meeting. Are there any questions on this item? I have a question, and it may very well have already been answered in the submission. I attended a Wandie Progress Association annual general meeting, and there was concern expressed by one of the residents there about development on the Jandakot water mound, and I hadn't realised that this is obviously the item they were referring to. So is there development actually on the water mound, or that's where the tree retention area will be?
Through you, Madam Mayor, the subdivision has been aligned and the actual zoning has been aligned to accord with the mound. So if you look at the council report, if you proceed down to, I think, the following page, Lindsay, keep going further down. A little bit more, there we go, there's the maps. You can see the red line, essentially that's there, creates that division between that urban area and the rural water protection. So the way that the concept is working is that development can only occur within that urban component, and the balance of those lots need to be protected and obviously have controls that relate to the groundwater mound.
Oh, thank you for that clarification. I can then respond to those concerns when I write back to the Wandie Progress Association. Are there any other questions? If not, we have a recommendation. Would somebody like to move? Move Councillor S. Wood, seconded Deputy Mayor. Councillor Wood, do you wish to speak on the item?
It's just that I'm very pleased that the officers have taken such care to look after the environment, the tree retention, the gradual moving from larger blocks down to middle-sized blocks down to smaller blocks. It's all very well thought out, and they're to be recommended for it.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Yes, Your Worship. I think this is this plan that that the owners of these blocks have settled on is as Councillor Wood alludes to, looks to enhance the natural environment that is there. As I indicated by way of my declaration of interest, I did see a very early plan for this particular subdivision, which involved many more lots than they have finalised. So I certainly support the current process. I think it's about a 5 or 6 year process that these landowners have undertaken to get to this point. So I certainly encourage councillors to support it, Your Worship.
Thank you. Anybody wish to speak against? I shall put it to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Item 17.2 is a local planning scheme amendment initiating change to Table 1 of our zones and use classes. Are there any questions of the officers? If not, we have a recommendation. Would somebody like to move that way? Move Councillor Winmar, seconded Councillor Brown. Councillor Winmar, do you wish to speak on this item? Councillor Winmar, Councillor Brown. Anybody wish to speak against? I shall put it to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. Item 18.1 are our accounts for payment for month ending 30th of September. Are there any questions on any of those accounts? If not, we have a recommendation. Would somebody like to move that way? Thank you. Move Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor D. Wood. Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak on the item?
No, Your Worship.
Councillor Wood? No. Anybody wish to speak against? Put it to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. 18.2 budget variations. Are there any questions on those variations? And would somebody like to move that way? Deputy Mayor. Deputy Mayor and seconded Councillor S. Wood. Did you wish to speak on the item at all?
It is very good to see that the senior citizens are going to have some solar panels placed on their roof. It was only I think Monday of last week that they raised the need for solar panels at their particular facility. They were actually told by our city staff member that there was no money in the budget, Your Worship, and I suggested to them that I'd have a conversation with the CEO and council to see if we could find some funds to put some solar panels onto the roof and save them some money. And as all councillors are aware, there is the councillors' special fund levy, whatever it's called, discretionary fund. And the CEO suggested that that would be a great project to fund through it. So it's great to see that we have, within 2 weeks, found some funds and put some solar panels up.
We'll have some very happy seniors. Great. Thank you, Councillor Estwood. Anybody wish to speak against? I shall put it to the vote. All in favour? Against? Carried. There's nothing in item 19 through to 21. Item 22, elected members report. Deputy Mayor.
I attended the Walga AGM along with yourself. I won't bore council with the 5 items that were on the agenda at the Walga AGM. I also attended the senior citizens meeting, as I've already alluded to. They'll be very pleased at the next meeting. I attended the Medina Laneway festival with yourself, Councillors Wood, Brown, and I note Councillor Winmar was part of the entertainment. It was very well attended. And I also attended the Summer Sounds concert in Wandi on your behalf, Your Worship. I believe that that event was a lot more successful than the city was anticipating. I believe we thought there would be about 2,500 people, and it was estimated there was at least 5,000 people.
I think it was 3,000 in the report.
Okay,
That's okay.
I'm just
It's
going
a
by
lot.
what
There's a lot.
the staff said on the night. You know, they like to inflate the numbers, which put them in the budget team, Your Worship. So that was about all, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you. Other than insulting the staff, well, Councillor Winmar.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. We held the Audit Risk Committee meeting within that time since the last meeting. And also, I'd like to send a congratulations out to Mandy Grubb and the team for the Medina Residents Group for the Medina Laneway Festival. It was well attended, and as the Deputy Mayor alluded to, I was a part of the entertainment this year, and just being a part of the formalities and just to see the event being enjoyed by the residents in the area and it being out in the open, it had that festival feel about it, and I think the council contributed to the funds to that event, and on all accounts I think that it went pretty well, so thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wood.
I performed all those duties required of me. Also, I've been to the Frank Konechny Centre for the sales opening. They've got some magnificent sails for protection from the sun and rain, I think. I also went down to the Medina Laneway Festival as well, which was attended by a lot of people. I won't say there's thousands, but a lot of people. And which was very nice, and meeting Mandy Grubb again, haven't seen her for a long time. And the last one was the waste to energy plant, which we went with Councillors Wood and no, you weren't there, yeah. And actually, there wasn't that many. It was Mike, Matt, and myself, and you. And anyway, walking 17 floors down on those stairs is a bit wearing, we'll say. But it was a great day, and I must thank them for their visit. It was great. You were there as well. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Brown.
Yes, thank you. So since the last Ordinary Council meeting, the city's event calendar, I think, has well and truly kicked off, starting with Kwinana's Summer Sounds held at Honeywood Wandi, which I attended along with the Deputy Mayor a few weeks ago. So with live performances, kids' activities, food trucks and market stalls, it was great to see the event attract a large amount of residents, and I have to say the atmosphere was really superb, family-friendly, easygoing and relaxing as the day turned to night against a backdrop of 90s music hits in this very unique part of Kwinana. I want to give huge kudos to the city, the events team, and everyone involved who do so well in running these large-scale events, and dare I say, managing all the moving parts look quite easy. So well done to everyone. And last Wednesday evening, I joined the Mayor and city representatives at the Wandi Progress Association's annual general meeting, where we heard about the significant amount of activities the group have undertaken over the past year, as well as the almost constant utilisation of the local community hall, pavilion and surrounding facilities. This was my first time attending the association's annual general meeting as a councillor, and I have to say it was incredible to hear about their level of community engagement and their pride in developing this hub of activity and the friendship and support that comes with it in an area that can sometimes seem a bit far from where we meet here right now in the city of Kwinana Centre. I had the opportunity to speak briefly at the event, and I recalled a conversation with Rod Cox about how it was absolutely awesome that the city of Kwinana offers such variety with the kind of lifestyles on offer, anything from standard suburbia all the way to rural style living in beautiful Wandi. And I have to joke, or make the interesting observation rather, that something that drove home to me that difference on offer in Kwinana was seeing kangaroos as I pulled into the car park, as well as a goat popping its head out of the bushes earlier down the road. A sight we don't see everywhere in our city, but definitely a great example of our city's connection to nature in so many forms. I commend the Wandi Progress Association for all they have achieved over the past year, and I also congratulate them on the election of their new committee, which sees Rod Cox take over the role of president from departing President Ken Workman. There's an exciting year ahead for the association and the local Wandi community for sure. And not to repeat others, but last weekend the laneway at Pace Road Shops Medina was absolutely buzzing with live music, family-friendly activities, food, and all-round good vibes, thanks to another fantastic event held by the Medina Residents Group, this time in the form of the Medina Laneway Fiesta. It was certainly well attended by residents coming from all corners of Kwinana to experience Medina's awesome community spirit, including much of this council here today and city representatives. Finally, I would like to congratulate the Medina Residents Group and all involved for hosting another successful event that will definitely be spoken about for quite some time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your report. Councillor S. Wood.
I hate following that report. I've attended, as many of the councillors here have attended several meetings. I've also went to help celebrate the sales at Frank Konechny Centre and the new footpath that the council's depot staff put in. Lindsay's fiddling around with what I'm trying to read. The new structures allow for easy access and provide a greater degree of shelter from the weather for those coming to the centre. And I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the staff at the Frank Konechny Centre for the great work they're doing by providing important services to the community. They really work hard and they do some fabulous things over there. I was also given the opportunity to have a tour of the first waste-to-energy plant in Australia being constructed in Kwinana, in the Kwinana industrial area. Several other councillors and the CEO and the Director Maria Cook went along with us. As councillor, and sorry, Director Doug Elkin was along with us too. Sorry, Doug, I always seem to forget Doug. I know, he's the forgotten director. It's a massive project scheduled for completion sometime next year. And to show how big the structure is, it's about 17 stories high with 400 kilometres of piping and 300 kilometres of electrical wiring in it. It's an astounding piece of engineering and will take the bulk of the city's waste with a very low environmental impact. I also went to the Medina Laneway Fiesta with most of the councillors, which was really good. There was live music. Thank you, Councillor Winmar and his band. It was very nice, as well as another band with a banjo, and very good. And it had a very festive atmosphere. And I really loved getting to speak to some of the residents there and sitting down in a relaxing atmosphere with them, and it was very congenial. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Kearney.
Not much more different to, I just attended the Kwinana Industrial Landscape Exhibition, which was run by the library, and it was a really lovely evening. They did a good job. And also the Kwinana Industry, I'm not sure what that one was.
Community Forum.
Forum that was attended by not a great amount of people, but it was very interesting to hear from the industry. That's all for me.
Thank you very much. There's no answers to questions. I do have several events, etc., that I've been attending, but I won't go through all of them. I'm sure you'll be pleased to know that, but I will just touch upon a few. I also attended the Wandie Progress Association AGM, and it's nice to know that next year we'll be having at least one council meeting held in Wandie, so that'll give the residents out there the opportunity to come and see, watch the council if they wish to participate at all in that process. We did it a few years ago. I know that we went out to the Thomas Kelly Hall. We went up to Fiona Harris, and I think it was Wandie or Bertram. Wellard and Bertram, and so at least it shows that we're willing to go out to engage with the community that wish to come along to a council meeting, and I hope to see democracy in action. I attended the 40th anniversary of the Neighbourhood Watch, and that was a celebration held at the Government House. Congratulations to student leaders from Aurelia Primary School, where they received a special commendation from Governor Chris Dawson, as well as the Neighbourhood Watch chairperson for their Junior Neighbourhood Watch Initiative program, which we've had a little bit of media on it, and I'd just certainly like to congratulate our city's community safety officer Sinead Gilligan, who has provided a lot of support and guidance to the young people at Aurelia Primary School in that initiative. In company with Councillor Rouse, we represented the City of Kwinana at the Outer Metropolitan Joint Development Assessment Panel, where Lot 9012 Albina Avenue, Ankertel, the medical centre, was approved. without any change to it. And also just following on from Councillor S. Wood in relation to the Avertus Energy tour. As you know, it's been a project a long time coming. In October 2010, both myself and the former CEO, Neil Hartley, attended Japan and looked at 4 different waste to energy facilities, and here we are 12 years on. We're building, we're host to Australia's first waste to energy facility. It's just disappointing that it was supposed to have been probably up and running this year, and we understand that will be delayed for maybe 12 months. Of course, that puts added pressure on our own waste disposal. We'll just obviously continue on with contractors as we are, but the sooner that we can take our waste to Avertus, the better it will be for certainly for our community. And last night I attended Development WA Showcase event, which was opened by the Minister for Housing, Mr John Kerry, and the event was called Collaborate, Connect and Create, and it was to showcase the work being undertaken by Development WA throughout the city and the regions. And just two further points. Along with my colleagues, Mayor Deb Hamlin from Rockingham, Mayor Rhys Williams from Mandurah, I attended the book launch of The Silent Heroines by local author Nada Lube. And the book is dedicated to grandparents and great-grandparents who in retirement years, through no fault of their own, find themselves as full-time carers for their grandchildren. And the book is a collection of stories gathered by the author in discussion with grand carers. It also attempts to highlight that grand carers only receive minimal payment from the government for the care they provide to their young charges. Nada hopes her book will stimulate people to think about grandparents in a really positive way and to be appreciated and valued for the service they provide to the community and society at large. And I understand, and I stand to be corrected, that I think the grandparent carers only receive something like $1,000 per child, which is just a travesty. But it's a really great book. I do have a copy of it. If any of you would like to read it, I shall bring it in for you. And on a happy note, I believe there is a wedding on Monday. Our Alicia is marrying Damien on Monday. Alicia, we had a wonderful card we all signed for you, but unfortunately it's been locked away. So I'll just pretend to present you with a wonderful card. May we wish you and Damien and your family all the very best for your future. Have a nice short mini moon, I suppose, short honeymoon, and look forward to seeing the photographs. Thank you. So look, there are no further announcements. There is one item to be dealt with behind closed doors. So as it is a confidential item, we do ask that the gallery please vacate. You are welcome to wait around and then we provide the results of the council recommendation. So would somebody like to move that way?
I move that way, Your Worship.
Thank you. Moved Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Unma, all in favour?